Discover the incredible truth behind my son's wedding, one photo that changed everything forever. Lisa stood in the dim light of her father's old study, the air thick with memories and dust motes dancing in the sun. Today was the day she had dreamt of, the day her son Jake would exchange vows and begin the next chapter of his life. But as she sifted through his belongings, her heart raced not with excitement, but a dread born from an unexpected discovery. One single photograph, weathered and creased, revealed an untold truth that shook her to her core. In the photo, a handsome young man, her father, stood smiling beside a woman whose face was struck from memory. They cradled a baby Jake's age in their arms. Who was this mysterious woman? Had she shaded the family tree with secrets? This image sent Lisa tumbling down an emotional spiral, reminiscing about every sacrifice she made to ensure Jake had a stable life, a stark contrast to her past. Raised in a home where loyalty was key, she prided herself on being strong for Jake. Now, however, she wondered if the foundation of their lives was built on hidden truths. As the wedding day approached and the small town buzzed with excitement, preparations sprouted everywhere, the quaint chapel adorned with fresh flowers, friends and family prepping to celebrate their love. With each laughter and cheer floating through the air, Lisa felt a storm brewing within her, an unsettling mix of pride and uncertainty. She had always been Jake's biggest supporter, sacrificing sleep, comfort, and so much more to raise him into the kind, hard-working young man he had become. But was she ready to unleash this family secret on him, potentially spoiling the happiness that was meant to be shared today? As she gently straightened his tie that morning, Lisa glanced in the mirror. There he was, her boy, all grown up and radiant with excitement. Memories of sleepless nights and tireless toil filled her mind, yet the specter of that photograph haunted her thoughts. If she shared the truth now, would it change everything they had built together? "Mom, you okay?" Jake's voice pulled her back, his brown eyes full of love. She forced a smile, trying to let go of the weight of the photo. "Just a little teary, sweetheart. You're about to get married." In the chapel, the pews filled and whispers cascaded like waves. Lisa felt the tension tighten around her chest as Jake stepped into view with his bride. Each moment was a heartfelt reminder of their hardships, now bursting into joy. But just as Jake prepared to recite his vows, that photograph nestled in her pocket felt like a ticking time bomb ready to disrupt this perfect day. It was time, the vows, the love, the promise of a future. Would she stay silent and protect Jake, or was honesty more essential than ever before? The crowd held its breath as Lisa's heart raced, her eyes glistening with unshed tears while fingered the edges of the photograph, a silent reminder of the shadows that could eclipse their happiness. And then, as Jake's love shone brightly in his eyes, a gasp swept through the congregation, leaving Lisa grappling with a decision, one that could forever alter their lives. What was she willing to risk for truth? Or might this new day of love and hope be overshadowed by family secrets? The moment was electric. Just before Jake's voice filled the chapel with vows of love, the gasp rippled through the audience like a shockwave. Lisa's heart lurched as all eyes turned to the back of the church. She followed the crowd's gaze, her thoughts racing. Someone had entered, someone unexpected. It was her estranged sister, Emma, disheveled and looking as if she had just run a marathon. Tension crackled in the air, and Lisa's mind spun. Why was Emma here? They hadn't spoken in years. Questions tumbled one after another in her mind. Were there more family secrets buried in that photograph? And did Emma know something she didn't? Jake's expression shifted, initially one of joy, now laced with confusion. The vows he had prepared faded into the background, replaced by the overwhelming presence of this uninvited guest. Lisa wished she could melt into the floor, her heart pounding mercilessly. She slowly turned back to Jake, his warm brown eyes now troubled, searching her face for answers. "Mom," he whispered, bewilderment evident. Just wait a moment," she stammered, an urgency in her voice as she felt the weight of the world pressing down on her shoulders. Emma took a few hesitant steps forward, the crowd parting uncomfortably. "I'm sorry to interrupt," but she began, her voice breaking the silence. Every word seemed to hang in the air, heavy with implications. "Not now, Emma," Lisa snapped, the words spilling out before she could catch them. Anger bubbled up, mingled with fear. She felt torn between protecting her son and confronting the sister who had once betrayed everything they stood for. There was a collective intake of breath from the congregation. The whispering intensified. Who is she? Is that really her? As eyes darted between Lisa and Emma. Mom, is she? Jake's voice trailed off, confusion etched across his face. Lisa saw the flicker of recognition spark in him. Please, just listen. Emma urged, desperation twisting her features. I need to talk. There are things about your father that you don't know. Every syllable from her sister was a dagger. Lisa's chest tightened. Did she want to open Pandora's box? She swallowed hard, grappling with the betrayal and the need to protect Jake from the truth she had shielded him from for so long. Stop! Lisa yelled, shaking her head, but even as she said it, she knew the revelation was already hanging in the air, the words barely chained back to a hush. With shaking hands, she pulled the photograph from her pocket, holding it like a shield. Look! This changes everything. The chapel held its breath. The atmosphere shifted, a palpable tension settling in as she faced her son, her voice trembling. Jake, I need you to know that not everything is as it seems. A flicker of understanding crossed his face. Mom, please, what are you talking about? As the crowd leaned into the unfolding drama, Lisa felt time freeze. The photo, once a simple relic of the past, had transformed into a weapon of truth. Would she expose the secret she had fought so hard to protect? As Jake's expression shifted from confusion to concern, the weight of her decision crashed down. Mom, who is she? Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper. In that moment, an unsettling sense of revelation lingered in the air. The wedding day shifted from celebration to an unraveling of buried secrets. What would Lisa reveal, and what impact would it have on her son? As she struggled to find the courage to speak, the future hung precariously in the balance, fraught with questions that could change everything forever. Lisa's grip on the photograph tightened. The cool edges pressed hard against her palm, a physical reminder of the lies that had kept her safe for so long. She took a deep breath, heart racing. The room felt smaller, the air heavier with the weight of expectation. Jake, listen, she started, her voice shaky, but Emma's anxious gaze cut into her, desperate, pleading. Was this truly the moment to unearth old wounds? Would revealing the truth heal them, or tear them apart further? She hesitated, the swirling emotions within her threatening to spill over. Mom, just tell me. Jake urged, his youthful face twisted in confusion and concern. The warmth that had filled the room just moments ago had vanished, replaced by an icy uncertainty. This wasn't just about her anymore, it was about him. Whatever Emma has to say, it can't be good, she thought, but she couldn't dismiss the urgency in her sister's eyes. Lisa's heartbeat echoed in her ears. If you don't understand, you won't forgive me, she whispered, more to herself than to anyone else. The photograph trembled in her hands, charged with unseen energy. I don't care. Jake replied, a hint of frustration in his voice. I just want the truth. The gravity of his demand struck her. He needed to know. All these years of protecting him hadn't prepared him for what could come next. Okay, she said, her voice steadier now, as she met Emma's desperate stare. You want the truth? Here it is. Her eyes flicked to the gathered friends, family, and strangers whose expressions were painted in varying shades of shock and excitement. It felt like a spotlight was burning a hole through the reality they had all constructed. Jake shifted his weight, eyebrows knitted in confusion, groping for clarity in the chaos. I thought the past was behind us, Emma said, taking another step forward, her voice trembling. But I couldn't stay silent anymore. It's time to share what we've hidden away. Lisa closed her eyes briefly, the memories cascading through her laughing children, heartaches, the days she had told herself everything was fine. Besides the love of her child, what had it all been worth? Your father. Emma continued, but Lisa interrupted, the words bursting from her like a dam breaking. He was more than you think, Jake, she exclaimed, and I should have told you sooner. The words spilled out, frantic and raw. Things about him, things we couldn't understand then. The air thickened again, drawn taut with emotion. Lisa could see the challenges ahead in Jake's face, not just confusion, but the anxiety of unraveling an identity spun from carefully woven fabric. Quiet murmurs swept through the spectators. This was becoming a spectacle, but for Lisa, it felt like a daring leap off a ledge, desperate and freeing. I should have protected you from this, she choked out, swallowing hard against the lump in her throat. But it's time we faced it together. Tell me what I don't know, Jake urged, his eyes locked onto hers, brimming with determination. As the chapel candles flickered, illuminating the shadows of years gone by, Lisa felt a churning in her stomach. Would revealing their truth unlock the chains they were bound to, or shatter what they built together? In that charged moment, fragility hung in the air like crystal glass, and Lisa realized they were on the precipice. One step into the unknown could change everything. Okay, she exhaled, steeling herself for the truth that could blow everything apart. Let us start with the photograph. Then outside, the storm gathered, looms of thunder grumbling as rain began to patter against the stained glass, echoing their turbulent hearts. What awaited them in this unraveling of truth? Would Jake still want to hear the truth, or would it push him away forever? The answers loomed like dark clouds, heavy and pressing, ready to break. The intensity in the room peaked as Lisa held the photograph up, her trembling hand illuminated by the flickering candlelight. Every eye was on her. The air pulsed with anticipation, a collective breath held tightly, waiting for her next words to unravel the fabric of their lives. Jake, she began, her voice low but firm. This photograph is from the day your father and I met, long before I knew how complicated my love for him would become. Jake's brow furrowed deeper, confusion still etched across his youthful face. Complicated? What do you mean? His voice held a mix of hope and disbelief. Your grandfather, he wasn't just my dad. He was someone else entirely, a man with flaws, secrets, and a turbulent past. Lisa felt the weight of each word as if they were stones cast into still waters, creating ripples of tension and dread. Emma stepped forward, biting her lip. I should have said this years ago, but I didn't know how to protect you both. When we were young, we buried things that festered beneath the surface, and it's time you knew them. Lisa glanced briefly at Emma, realizing they were both about to dismantle the protective layers they had built. It wasn't just Lisa who felt vulnerable. Emma too stood on the precipice of revelation, and that shared fear connected them deeper than all the years they had kept silent. Your father was not just a soldier, Jake. He lived through so much pain, things I didn't even understand until after he was gone. The demons he fought were real, and they changed him and us. The audience was hushed, caught in a moment so fragile, it felt as if any sound could shatter it. A few shifted in their seats, whispers of sympathetic murmurs floated around the room, but Lisa focused solely on her son. The way he searched her face, desperate for clarity, made her heart ache. Why did you hide this from me, Mom? Jake pressed, his voice choked with emotion. I thought we had a family. Why didn't you trust me with the truth? I tried to protect you, Lisa admitted, tears brimming in her eyes now, but in doing so, I silenced the memories, the good and bad. I thought I was saving you from the hurt, but maybe I was just sheltering myself. Jake swallowed hard, anger and pain swirling behind his gaze. You were my mom. I needed to know the real story. Not just the fairy tale version. The storm outside intensified, rain against the stained glass harmonizing with anxiety lingering in the air. Lisa felt overwhelmed. This wasn't just about the past anymore, it was about her son's future, the identity he would carry ahead. Jake, she started, her voice breaking, your father, he loved you more than anything. But he struggled with his past. Maybe if I had spoken up sooner, you might be understood him better, or maybe just known before he was gone. A loud clap of thunder shook the chapel, reverberating in the silence that followed like a sign from above. Jake's face transformed, his features softening as realization began to sink in. He was navigating a path flooded with loss, anger, and the fragments of love that had once filled their home. I don't want my memories to be filled with lies, Mom. I need to know who I really am, Jake finally said, his voice steady yet filled with vulnerability. In that tense moment, Lisa knew they were inching closer to a catharsis neither of them had counted on. Then let's face the truth together, Jake. It's time to confront the shadows and find the light, to honor your father properly. And in that declaration, amidst the growing storm both inside and outside the walls, they stepped into a new chapter. Would the truth unite their fractured family, or would it expose wounds too deep to heal? As the rain cascaded down the chapel's windows, Lisa felt the first inklings of hope struggle against the fear. But just then, a sudden gust of wind flung the doors wide open, sending a chill through the room. And as the wind howled, a voice from the back cried out, "You don't know everything yet." The atmosphere shifted as all eyes turned towards the newcomer. Who was this, and what other truths lay hidden beneath the surface? The chapel fell into a stunned silence as the unexpected voice echoed through the air. Jake's eyes widened, his confusion deepening further. Lisa felt an electric chill trail down her spine. She turned to see who had intruded upon their fragile moment of truth. The figure stepped forward from the shadows, drenched from the rain, but undeniably familiar. It was Sam, Jake's estranged half-brother, a young man who had always seemed like a ghost in their shared memories. In that moment, the years of estrangement seemed to vanish, replaced by the weight of unspoken history. "Sam?" Jake's voice was barely above a whisper. "What are you doing here?" Sam's gaze locked onto Lisa, and in that instant, a lifetime of regret and unresolved tension crashed between them like the thunder shaking the chapel. "I came because I thought you needed to know the truth, Jake." His voice trembled slightly, but the determination behind it was unmistakable. "What truth?" Lisa asked, disbelief weaving through her words. Her heart raced as the storm raged on outside, mirroring the turmoil inside her chest. Sam took a deep breath, running a hand through his wet hair. "The truth about our dad and how it relates to you." His words hung heavy in the air, pregnant with the promise of revelations yet untold. Jake's brow furrowed with frustration and longing. "You know something I don't? Is this about his past?" The flickering candlelight caught the anger mingled with desperation in his eyes. "Yes," Sam replied, taking another step closer. "This is about more than just your father. It's about who we are. There is so much history, so many pieces that both of you have hidden away." He glanced over at Lisa, and for a moment, his expression softened. "I didn't grow up with you, Jake, but I know how much your father loved you. Yet he made choices that changed everything." Lisa felt a lump form in her throat. Secrets unraveling were one thing, but confronting her past through a lens she never expected was a different weight entirely. "What choices?" she managed, her voice steady yet quaking at the edges. "Things he never wanted you to find out," Sam continued, his tone growing serious. "There are family ties that reach deeper than anyone knows, secrets meant to protect, but in the end, they only hurt. I can't let you go on thinking you don't deserve the truth about who you are." Jake shifted uneasily, emotions tangled. "What are you saying?" His hands clenched into fists, disbelief radiating off him in waves. "I'm saying there were choices he made that involved both of us," Sam replied, taking another shaky breath. "Choices that no one ever talked about. Not Mom. Not the family. And especially not Dad. But it's time we face them. Time we find out where we really came from." The room seemed to pulse with energy, hearts pounding like thunder against a window. The significance of the revealing storm and this unexpected reunion clashed within. Lisa felt her breath quicken. A fire lit within her resolve. Whatever damning truths lay ahead, they would face them together. The shadows needed to be addressed, and perhaps what lay on the other side was a chance to find redemption, understanding, and maybe healing. But as Sam continued, "If you look closely enough," Jake, a loud crash echoed, interrupting him, the wind roaring through the chapel like a living entity. Jake shot a startled glance at his brother. "What do you mean? What are you hiding from me?" The urgency in his voice stirred something deep in Lisa. It was becoming clear that this was not merely a question of family but of identity. Who were they really? "Jake, wait." Sam reached out, but the tension crackled in the air like electrical charge, the storm still raging outside. As the uncertainty filled the room once again, Lisa knew they were teetering on the brink of something monumental. They could finally face the past and uncover a deeper connection, or it could all come crashing down. "Let us explore the truth together," Lisa urged, feeling a glimmer of hope amidst the storm. But would this new layer of revelations tear them apart, or bind them? Closer than ever, with anticipation hanging heavily in the air, they waited for Sam to unveil what all this truly meant, ready to embrace whatever lay beyond the storm's fury. The air thickened with anticipation as Sam's gaze held a haunting blend of sorrow and determination. He took another deep breath, gathering his thoughts. "There's more to our dad's story. Before I got here, I had to wrestle with what I was going to say. But Jake, we can't ignore it anymore. You have to hear this. Just tell us." Jake snapped, his voice strained, grappling with a swirl of emotions. Frustration and a hint of fear laced his tone, as if he sensed that everything he held close was crumbling at this very moment. Sam shifted his weight, squaring his shoulders as he prepared to reveal the secrets that had haunted their family for years. "Our father wasn't just a man with a few mistakes. He was involved in decisions that created our very existence. And it wasn't just about choosing to walk away from me, it extended beyond our family." Lisa watched Jake's face morph into a mixture of dread and disbelief. He took a step closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "What do you mean?" "Before he met your mother, he was with someone else. Someone who never really left his heart," Sam said, eyes darting nervously. "They had a son. A son who, well, that son is me." The revelation struck like a lightning bolt. Lisa's heart raced, her mind tumbling over the implications. Jake staggered back, shock plastered across his face. "You're saying you're my brother? Like blood?" Sam nodded slowly, pain flickering in his eyes. "Yes, but it's more complicated than that. Our dad kept it hidden to protect our respective families. He thought by shielding us from the truth, he was doing what was best. But that just continues to hurt us, doesn't it?" A storm of emotions erupted in Jake. Confusion, anger, sadness, they all collided. He turned away, running a hand through his hair, both frustrated and overwhelmed. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" "That's what I'm trying to fix," Sam replied, desperation creeping into his voice. "We deserve to know the whole story. It's the only way we can break this cycle of secrecy." Lisa felt the weight of her own past pressing down. She had come here seeking answers, expecting clarity. Instead, layers of complication unraveled before her. "It's almost like you're inviting us to join a family that doesn't feel complete," she said softly, her voice barely above the storm raging outside. The flicker of pain crossed Jake's face as he turned back to Sam. "Is that what this is about? Blood ties? Or is it something deeper?" "I'm not just here to claim a brother, Jake. I found you because I need to heal, too." Sam's plea wove through their tension, revealing vulnerability that resonated with everyone in the room. "Our dad may have made mistakes, but I want us to find strength in each other. We're brothers. There's something fierce about that bond." Lisa felt the pulse of hope again, but it was fragile, glittering beneath the weight of uncovering the past. "But what about the truth of our families? What will this mean for us?" Silence enveloped them. The storm outside had quieted to a low rumble, mirroring the uncertainty hanging in the chapel. Each of them wrestled with the emotions rising to the surface. Sam stepped closer, determination etched in his features. "Together we can uncover the truth and face whatever comes next. But we have to be willing to confront it. Only then can we understand where we belong." As Lisa took a breath to steady herself, she realized that the future was dense with possibility. The moment felt pivotal, yet its weight pushed hard against the threads of hope they craved. Would they bind together in the search for answers or let the past rip them apart? Just then, a bright flash of lightning illuminated the chapel, casting fleeting shadows across their faces, reminding them of the choices that lie ahead. Would they leap into this uncertainty together? Would Jake embrace what it meant to expand his family or retreat into the comfort of what he believed he knew? Answering those questions could change everything, forever. The heavy silence hung in the room like a weight. Sam could see Jake grappling with the truth, each expression flitting across his face like flashes of lightning in the storm outside. Lisa's heart beat erratically, a mix of hope and despair swirling together, threatening to drown her in uncertainty. Jake finally broke the tension, although his voice was barely above a whisper. "You need to explain all of this right now." There was an edge in his tone, one that signaled the walls around his heart were trembling but not yet ready to crumble. Sam swallowed hard. "I know it's a lot to take in." He glanced at Lisa, inviting her into this moment as if she could lend him strength. "But every part of this is tied to our father's choices. His love, his regrets, all of it led him to create two separate lives." Jake still looked unsure, tension rippling through his body. "So what happens now?" His eyes were fierce, searching for an answer, yet filled with a deep-rooted fear of opening Pandora's box. "Now that he has gone? That's what we need to figure out together," Sam replied, his voice steadier than he felt. He took a step closer, eyes locking onto Jake. "I don't just want to share the burden of being his son, I want to build something with you. To be here for you as brothers should be." A flicker of confusion crossed Jake's features, and Lisa could see his struggle to shift his perception of family. "What if this isn't what I want? What if you're right, and this just brings more pain?" "I can't promise an easy path," Sam admitted, the raw honesty spilling from him. "But I can promise honesty. We can explore this life together. We can navigate the pain, whatever it looks like, if we do it as a family." The rain began drumming steadily against the chapel's roof, a gentle reminder of the storm both outside and within. Lisa watched as Jake's hand rubbed the back of his neck, a gesture of vulnerability that was hard to miss. She stepped toward him, wanting to bridge whatever distance felt insurmountable. "Maybe there's no perfect answer. Maybe it's about carving out a new beginning." Jake's gaze flicked from Sam to Lisa, hesitating. "But what if we're not ready? What if every answer just leads us to more questions?" Sam's response was measured, but there was unmistakable passion behind it. "Then we keep asking. We keep digging until we find the truth that matters most to us. We're not alone in this. We have each other." Lisa felt her heart swell with hope, grounded in the power of that simple truth. She could see their bond stirring to life, rooted in shared pain but reaching for something greater. "It's scary," she said softly, "but it's also an opportunity. We can redefine what family means for us." Jake inhaled deeply, as if the weight of his thoughts momentarily lifted. "I've never thought of it that way." In that moment, something changed within him. Lisa could see it, a flicker of acceptance, a glimmer of hope. The thunder rolled in the distance, yet it felt more distant now, as if it were paralleling the struggles they faced. As the storm began to ease, Sam's gaze fixed on Jake with a fierceness that commanded attention. "Do you trust us to find our way together?" The question hung in the air, almost tangible. Jake's jaw tightened, but then he nodded slowly, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. "Yeah, I guess I do. But we need to talk about what happens next, the rest of this family. Their feelings matter too." Sam smiled cautiously. "And we will. It's time to let them in on the truth." Just then, a loud crash echoed outside, rattling the chapel walls, catching them all off guard. The moment was charged, the air electric. Secrets were ready to be unveiled, uncharted waters awaited them. What awaited them on that road to discovery? Would they have the courage to face the next storm together? As the echoes of the crash faded, an unsettling calm settled in, almost as if the world outside had paused to catch its breath. The rain slowed to a gentle patter, but inside the chapel, tension thrummed like a bowstring pulled taut. Lisa could feel her pulse quickening, the air thick with unspoken fears and hopes. "We need to see what that was," Sam said, breaking the silence and moving toward the door, urgency framing his every motion. Jake hesitated, his lips pressed together in a thin line of uncertainty. Lisa could sense the clash between his instinct to retreat and his growing desire to confront what lay ahead. "Wait," Lisa called out, stepping closer to Jake. She knew he needed to process, to feel grounded before diving headfirst into the unknown. "Let us just breathe for a moment." Whatever it is, we'll face it together. Jake's furrowed brow softened, his eyes darting toward hers. She could see the flicker of a new understanding there, the realization that he was not alone in this storm. You're right. This is all moving too fast. Sam glanced back, concern etched across his face. I want to handle this as a family. You're part of this now, he said, giving Jake a challenging yet encouraging look. After a moment's hesitation, Jake nodded, drawing in a slow, deliberate breath as he looked from Sam to Lisa. All right. Let us see what's out there together. With a tentative resolve, they moved toward the chapel's entrance, the wooden door creaking ominously as Sam pulled it open. Outside, the storm had transformed the world, branches littered the ground, and the air smelled fresh, mingled with the scent of wet earth. But hovering just beyond lay the remnants of the crash that had startled them. The fallen tree limb sprawled across the gravel path leading away from the chapel. It was a small miracle that it hadn't caused more destruction. The three of them stepped outside, the rain now just a mist, clinging to their skin. Jake's gaze swept the surroundings, his mind racing with thoughts. We should really check the house. Mom, everyone else will be worried. Right, Sam agreed, starting to step back inside for his jacket. We'll need to face them soon and tell them everything. It's the only way forward. As Sam disappeared for a moment, Lisa turned to Jake, wanting him to know she was right there with him. What are you thinking? She asked, holding his gaze. Jake shifted, heavy thoughts weighing on him. I'm just scared of how they'll react. The truth can do that, you know? It can tear families apart or bring them closer. I don't want to hurt anyone anymore. I know. But sometimes you have to break down walls to let in the light. There's no guarantee it'll be easy, but at least it'll be real. He nodded, visibly steeling himself. You're right. We owe it to ourselves to be honest. A smile crept across her face. Somewhere inside, something deep within shifted, a kind of faith that flickered brighter between them. As they stood in that uncertain moment, Sam re-emerged, pulling on his jacket and ready to face whatever was next. Okay, let us do this, he said, determination strong in his voice. Together. The three of them turned, stepping back into the chapel for one last moment of solidarity. But as they stepped inside, a sudden commotion came from outside. A voice, raised in alarm, cried out, interrupting the moment's peace. Lisa's heart skipped. What if this was the moment everything changed? What if their lives would never be the same again? Before they could react, the door swung open, revealing a figure silhouetted against the hazy backdrop of a fading storm. You need to come quick. It's about your father. The words hung heavy in the air, a charged weight that sent their hearts racing. What news could this stranger possibly bring? Would it unravel the fragile thread of hope they'd just begun to weave together? The figure stepped forward into the chapel's dim light, and the three of them instinctively moved closer together. Lisa's heart pounded as she took in the stranger's anxious expression. It was a face taut with urgency, eyes wide and glistening, painted shadows under the flickering candlelight. What do you mean? What happened to Dad? Sam's voice broke through the tension, sharp and demanding. Despite the fear clawing at her gut, Lisa felt a swell of admiration for Sam's courage. He was ready to fight for answers. The stranger took a breath, as if steeling himself against a wave of emotion. I'm sorry. There was an accident. Your father, his voice faltered, and Lisa's breath caught. Spit it out. Jake urged, his frame tense beside her. They found him down by the creek. He's hurt, the stranger finally blurted out. It looks serious. They need you now. Now more than ever. Lisa felt her knees weaken. She wanted to collapse, but all she could do was hold on to Jake's arm tightly. The storm outside had lessened, yet inside, a tempest raged. Is he going to be okay? She whispered, pain curling around her voice, choking her words. I don't know, the stranger replied, looking away, unable to meet their eyes. But they're doing what they can. You should come. Sam nodded, his jaw clenched. Let us go, then. He darted toward the door, urgency radiating from him like an electric current. Jake looked at Lisa, his expression an open book filled with worry and fear. What if we lose him? His voice cracked as he wrestled with the weight of uncertainty. She could see that the idea of losing another parent was more than just painful, it was as if it would collapse the very foundations of the life he had tried to rebuild. We can't, Lisa said, forcing confidence into her voice, holding on to the hope that was now fragile and trembling. We're going to go to him. We have each other. Something in Jake's eyes shifted, acceptance blending with determination. They followed Sam into the musty air, disregarding the rain-soaked ground as they stepped into the world that felt suddenly unfamiliar. Light drizzle spritzed against their skin, the gentle sound of raindrops mingling with thuds of their heavy hearts. As they approached the creek, the stones beneath their feet turned slick and treacherous. Lisa's mind raced through memories of time spent with her father, his laughter, his stories, his comforting presence. What if this was the last memory they would ever make together? What do we do now? Jake asked, urgency lacing his voice as they arrived at the scene. Before anyone could answer, the distant wail of sirens rang out, a sound that typically signaled hope, yet attached itself to a chill creeping down Lisa's spine. It felt like the world had turned on its head, and each moment slipped away, leaving only anxiety in its wake. Stay close, stay together, Sam instructed. He moved forward, giving them courage. Just before they disappeared around a bend in the path, Lisa glanced back at the chapel, its silhouette framed against the looming storm clouds. What awaited them felt monumental, like a world shifting. As they reached the creek, anxious shouts filled the air, and their footsteps quickened. Suddenly, Lisa spotted a group gathered around a figure lying on the ground. Her heart fell. Fear wrapped around her like a vice. What would they find? As they approached, the figure began to stir, and with it came a rush of emotions. Was it the end, or just the beginning of another chapter, one that could tear them apart or bring them closer together? Then, from within the crowd, a familiar voice broke through the chaos. I'm fine, I just need a moment. The words hung in the air, wrapping around them like a lifeline. But was it really him? And if so, what had happened that led them to this moment? With a mix of dread and hope coursing through her veins, Lisa stepped closer, the unknown stretching out before them like the creek itself, deep, winding, and full of mysteries waiting to be unveiled. Would the truth bring healing, or would it deepen the scars they were all too familiar with? The scene at the creek was a whirlwind of activity, swirling shadows, and frantic voices blending into a symphony of chaos. As Lisa pushed through the crowd, the sound of rushing water filled her ears, but it was the rise and fall of a familiar voice that anchored her. I'm fine, I just need a moment. The warmth of his words wrapped around her, suffusing her with an immediate rush of relief. It was her father, lying amidst the chaos but struggling to rise. A few paramedics rushed to his side, their faces a mixture of urgency and disbelief. Dad. Jake's voice broke through the noise, panic etched across his expression. Sam moved forward, eyes darting between the frantic scene and his brother. They reached the small circle forming around their father, and Lisa stepped forward, desperate to push past any barriers, both emotional and physical. Stay back. One of the paramedics barked, but at the same moment, Lisa caught sight of her father's eyes filled with confusion but unmistakably alive. I've got this, he croaked, attempting to sit up, the tension in the air loosening by degrees. Lisa's heart swelled, a reservoir of tears pooling just below the surface. Before she could say anything, she knelt beside him, smoothing back damp strands of hair from his forehead. What happened? She asked, her voice breaking but filled with fierceness. You scared us. I know, sweetheart, he said, his voice weaker than she remembered. Just an accident. A misstep by the creek. His gaze flicked to Jake and then Sam, the bond of their shared blood evident even through the haze of pain. Amid the chaotic backdrop, Jake's eyes glistened with both relief and confusion. You scared us, Pop. He finally managed, his voice breaking as he knelt beside his father. I didn't mean to. A chuckle escaped, thin but genuine, twisting into a wince as the paramedics pressed gently against his shoulder. I wanted to clear some branches, make sure no one got hurt from the storm. Got a bit careless. Lisa glanced at Sam, a kindred understanding passing between them. Their shared history, intertwined with grief and longing, suddenly felt like a tapestry that had begun to mend. But amid this reunion, the storm still loomed in their hearts. "There's more to this, isn't there?" she asked their father softly, sensing a deeper truth lingering beneath the surface. "You mean the past?" he asked, breath shallow but resolute. She nodded, not sure whether it was the physical pain or the emotional weight of generations that wore on him. "We have to talk. And now, it feels more important than ever." "Listen," he started, his expression serious, "there are things about our family I've kept hidden. Not because I didn't love you but because I thought protecting you meant keeping these buried." Jake and Sam exchanged worried glances, the revelation hanging heavy in the air like the storm clouds beginning to part above them. "Whatever it is, we can face it together," Sam spoke, finding strength in the bond being forged. Their father took a deep breath, the air palpable with his unguarded honesty. "We're not just relatives, we're a family. And that means confronting the past, even the pain." The silence that followed wrapped around them like a fragile tapestry, emboldening them with promise, yet laden with the weight of secrets. "Let us start now," Lisa urged, squeezing her father's hand. "We won't let fear keep us apart anymore." In that moment, Lisa felt the first real sign of healing. The pieces of their story began to fit. They were not just scattered remnants of hurt but threads of connection that, once recognized, could knit together a stronger family fabric. "Okay," her father said, looking at all of them, his eyes reflecting a newfound awareness. "Let us talk about what we've hidden and how we can bring our family closer despite it. We'll face the truth together." The warmth of his hand in hers and the strength of the brothers by her side ignited something within, an unyielding spark of hope. They were on the brink of a new beginning. The storm clouds of their past and uncertain future began to disperse, diminishing. Under the steady light of understanding and acceptance. As they gathered around him, a united front more powerful than any storm, Lisa whispered a silent promise, bolstered by her family's resolve. No matter what the truth lay ahead, they would weather it together, and as the rain slowed to a mere sprinkle, the sun broke through the clouds, bathing them all in golden light, a sign, perhaps, that they could emerge from the shadows and create something beautiful from their fragments. The journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but Lisa felt certain love and truth could conquer mountains, and together they were ready to face anything. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to our channel for more inspiring stories that resonate in the heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the positivity flowing. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this journey toward healing. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.